When you see it, you know you'll definitely enjoy the next 2 hours. What is it? Of course, it's the Warner Brothers logo. So many great movies. Looks very familiar, but what exactly is it? It's Sprite. It's the 5th best-selling soft drink on the market. This one is way harder to recognize, so I'll give you a hint. It's a soft drink too. Yeah, right. It's Dr. Pepper. It's the 6th best-selling drink, going right after Sprite. Another way to spend a great evening. What is this company? It's DreamWorks. What about this purple logo? It's Yahoo! I don't think there's a person out there who doesn't know what this is. It's Hogwarts logo, the school of witchcraft and wizardry from the Harry Potter universe. Back to our non-magical world. What's this company? It's Amazon. The company started out in 1995 as a garage bookstore, by the way. Do you know what this is? It's the PlayStation logo. Does this one ring a bell? It definitely should. It's Monopoly. Also, for some reason, this game has thousands of special editions. Huh? What's that song? Ask Shazam. Even if you're not a gamer, you can probably recognize this. It's The Sims, a life simulator game that was a real hit in the 2000s. It's a new logo, but I think you must know it by now. It's Meta. It's the new name of Facebook Incorporated. They own Instagram and WhatsApp too. Not as popular as Facebook, but you might know this app, or ask someone from Gen Z. It's Discord, a messenger. Originally, it was used by gamers, but now there's more users building their communities of interests. Okay, what's this? Yeah, I'm back to car brands again. This is Ferrari. Can you recognize this sign and to whom it belongs? It's Wonder Woman.
Jim met this pretty woman in his favorite park. After having a pleasant conversation with her, he asked, "What's your name?" She told him that her name was hidden on the license plate of her car. Here it is, WV733N. Can you figure out the woman's name? Look at the symbols upside down. The lady's name is Neelam. A kind-looking elderly woman came up to Mia in a restaurant. The woman said, "You look exactly like my younger daughter. We argued and haven't been speaking for many years. Could you do me a favor and say, 'Goodbye, Mother,' with a smile on your face when I leave?" Mia felt very sorry for the poor woman and agreed. So she said, "Goodbye, Mother," when the old woman left. Soon after that,
Oh, no.
Mia got the biggest shock of her life. Can you guess what happened? A waiter approached Mia and gave her the elderly woman's bill. The woman had assured the waiter that her daughter would pay for her meal.
Oh no!
Nancy took Josh to the office kitchen. Can you see anything weird on the table? Take a look at the electric kettle. Min and Max are on the opposite sides. Look at this cute little rabbit rotating the gear. Can you predict which mark the arrow will point at? Number 1 or number 2? The second. The gears in direct contact will always rotate in opposite directions. There are 40 elephants, and they have 44 heads. How can this be possible? It's a play on words. The 40 elephants have 44 heads. Get it? Kate and Pam are liars. They both lie on specific days. Pam lies on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. She speaks the truth the rest of the time. And Kate lies on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. As for all other days, she speaks only the truth. Can you figure out that one day of the week when both Kate and Pam can say, "Tomorrow I'll lie"? It's Thursday. Let's suppose that any girl is telling the truth when she says, "Tomorrow I'll lie." She will have to keep her promise and lie the next day. But if her statement was false, then she'd have to speak the truth the next day. Anyway, in each case, the girls will have to change their behavior the next day. Now, it's pretty clear that Kate can only say that on Thursday or Sunday, and Pam can say that on Monday or Thursday. So, the only day which fits the conditions of the riddle is Thursday. I'm huge on Sunday and Saturday. I'm small from Tuesday to Thursday. I don't exist on Monday and Friday. What am I? The letter S. Mike is a famous treasure hunter. He is stuck in a cave with 4 doors. Unfortunately, each door hides some serious danger. The room behind the first one is filled with ice. Anyone who enters it gets frozen in seconds. There are 2 hungry sharks waiting behind the second door. The third door opens to a room filled with the world's most poisonous gas. And the fourth door leads to a room filled with giant magnifying lenses that increase the heat from the sun. Anyone and anything that enters gets burned in no time. Uh-oh. Can you help Mike escape? He can get away through the fourth door at night when the sun goes down. Bobby needs to crack a secret code using the following clues. One of the numbers is correct and is placed in the right place. Nothing is correct. 2 numbers are correct, but not in the needed position. 1 number is what we need, but it's not in the correct position. 1 number is okay, but not put in its right place. Uh-oh. Have you figured it out? Let's begin with statement 2. We can exclude 0, 3, and 2 from the final code. Now, according to statement 3, we can conclude that numbers 1 and 8 are correct. Statements 1 and 4 help us to learn that 9 is in the final code, and it comes third. Now it's time to identify the right places for 1 and 8. Let's take a look at statements 3 and 5. 8 can't go third because this place is already occupied by 9. And it can't go first because it contradicts the third condition. So, the correct code is 819.
A group of friends met in the evening for a game night. According to the rules of one of the games they played, they each had to draw a card with a number. Soon, they realized that the number 6 was missing. Since it was a new set of cards, it was weird that they had already lost it. They all revealed their cards and, indeed, there was no 6. Suddenly, one of the friends started to laugh. She said she'd found the missing card. Can you spot it too? The player who has a 9 actually has a 6, but he's holding it upside down. There are only 8 cards, and the highest number is also 8. It was reported that another civilian had invaded Earth. Detective Callum had a special mission to find everyone who was not human. He entered a cafe searching for invaders and noticed one of them right away. Can you tell which customer is not human? It's that dark-haired guy right there. Look, he has 6 fingers. Take a look at this busy street. Can you find an imposter here? It's this guy. His clothes are super warm, but look, his face is blue. Now we're moving to the mall. Try to find an intruder here. Look, this woman is glimmering. She must be from another world. We have a few more intruders to catch. Detective Callum found out that one of them was at a local college, so he drove there. Which student is not human? Look, that girl is floating, just a couple of inches above the ground, but still, definitely not an ordinary student. After work, the detective went to the gym, but even there was someone from another planet. Can you spot them? Pay attention to the guy on the treadmill. He's running too fast. He must be an imposter. Arya called the police and reported that her friend Violet had been poisoned. The girl found her unconscious on the floor. Here's what Arya said. I was walking past Violet's house and noticed that the lights were on. I figured that she was at home, so I decided to come in and say hi. The front door was open, so I walked in and saw Violet just like that. The police officer asked her if she had touched anything. Arya answered that she had only touched Violet to check her pulse, and then her cell phone to make the call. The police detained her for further investigation. Why? The lights in the room are off. But Arya said that it hadn't been dark in the room. That's why she entered. If she didn't touch the switch, then she's lying now. It was a sunny spring Sunday morning. The whole family was at home. When Hannah returned to her room after breakfast, she noticed that someone had played a prank on her and stolen all the clothes from her closet. She questioned every person in the house. Hannah's mom said she'd been busy reorganizing her bedroom. Her dad said that he'd been shoveling snow in front of the house. The girl's sister, Serenity, said that she had been playing video games in her room. Who took Hannah's clothes? It was her dad. There is no snow outside. It's spring. He couldn't have been shoveling snow. So he lied. Tyler came back home and found a love letter in his mailbox. It was a very sweet one, but the sender didn't write their name. Instead, there was some code added at the end. Can you figure out the name of Tyler's secret admirer? The alphabet is the key. D plus 1 means the letter following D, which is E. O minus 3 means 3 letters before O, which is L. 2 letters after G is I. Z plus 0 is actually Z. And C minus 2 is A. It seems that the girl's name is Eliza. Kara likes traveling, but she's terrible at packing. So, your task is to check her suitcase and find one thing she doesn't need to take with her. Kara is going camping with her friends. What's that extra thing she packed that she needs to leave at home? There's no electricity in the forest. She can leave this electric kettle at home. This time, Kara is packing for her vacation in Mexico. She and her boyfriend have booked a room in a beautiful hotel right by the ocean. What won't she need there? She probably won't need the towel. Hotels usually provide them and replace them every day with clean ones. This time, Kara is going on a ski trip with a group of friends. The task is the same. What won't she need there? I'm not sure about their plans, but she isn't likely to need this swimsuit. And finally, Kara is going to visit her grandparents. They live on a farm, and she'll stay there for a week. There's no electricity or running water there, so it's gonna be a bit tough for a girl from a big city. What doesn't she need to take with her? I think it's this hairdryer. No electricity, remember?
Abigail stayed late in the office because she had a lot of work to do. She left the room to get some snacks and a coffee. Half an hour later, she returned and found out that someone had stolen her wallet, so she called the police. Detective Callum interrogated 3 people who were still in the office. Noel, the cleaning man, said that he had been cleaning another floor and had never stepped into Abigail's office that day yet. Sonia, the accountant, said that she had been talking on the phone with her mom. Sean, a regional manager, said that he had been in his office, flooded with work. Who stole the wallet? No one. Detective Callum figured out that since Abigail went to get snacks and coffee, she must have had her wallet with her. He just recommended she should get some sleep and stop overworking. Elizabeth and her daughter Ella went abroad traveling. They were walking and shopping in one remote town when Elizabeth noticed that Ella had disappeared. She called the police and they started to look for the girl. There were 3 people nearby and they were interrogated. Layla said that she hadn't seen the girl. Madison said that she had seen the girl with her mom, but that was it. Amelia said that she had heard someone screaming, but she hadn't seen who it was. Who should be arrested? Layla. Look, she's carrying Ella's purse. Gideon had a girlfriend, a sister, and 2 cousins. Figure out who Gideon's sister is if the cousins are saying the truth and the sister and the girlfriend are lying. Chloe. E is his girlfriend. Ruby. Chloe is lying. Skylar. Ruby is lying. Lily. Skylar is not his sister. If Chloe is telling the truth, then Lily is lying. Then Skylar is his sister, who's also lying. So Ruby must be telling the truth, which contradicts that Chloe is telling the truth. So Chloe is for sure lying. Then Ruby is telling the truth, and Skylar is lying. So Lily is telling the truth. 2 liars are Chloe and Skylar, and they're Gideon's girlfriend and sister. Lily says that Skylar isn't his sister. So Skylar is his girlfriend, and then Chloe is his sister. Scarlett just moved into her new apartment 3 days ago. One evening, she was reading before bed when she heard a knock on the door. She opened the door, and there was a confused man who said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I just moved in here earlier today, and I thought it was my apartment. Once again, sorry, and good night." Then he left. Scarlett didn't believe that it was just a mistake and reported the man to the police. Why? The problem was that the guy had knocked. If he had really thought it was his room, he would have tried to open it with his own keys. Nora lived alone in the city suburbs. She called the police and reported that someone had robbed her house and stolen her savings that she had been keeping in a pair of socks on one of her wardrobe shelves. Detective Callum arrived with the police, took a look at the room, and closed the case, claiming that the lady was lying. Why did he think so? The room was absolutely clean. If someone had robbed the house, they would have made a mess while searching for money. The person who took the money must have known exactly where it was, which is unrealistic. Mrs. Ledger is a high school history teacher. One day, she started a sudden oral test, asking students questions from the back of the book. If the students figure out the order in which she asks, they can find the answer to their question in advance. The first 3 people she asked were Atlas, Eleanor, and Gracelyn. There are Zoe, Luca, Sienna, and Victoria left. Can you guess who will answer which question? Mrs. Ledger is asking students in alphabetical order. So, up next is Luca, then Sienna, then Victoria, and Zoe. Another day, another test. Once again, Mrs. Ledger is asking students. This time, the first ones to answer were Zoe, Luca, and Atlas. In which order will she ask the remaining students? This time, she started with people with the shortest names. There are 3 letters in Zoe, 4 in Luca, and 5 in Atlas. The next one is Sienna, who has 6 letters in her name. Then Eleanor with 7 letters, Victoria with 8 letters, and Gracelyn with 9. Mandragora grew near the spookiest house in town. Vera gave Lucy and Rhonda a task to find it and bring it to her store. While Rhonda was searching in the garden, Lucy decided to get a closer look at the house. She saw a sign with a weird name on it, Siomon Eprik. She went to the huge door and opened it quietly. After Lucy got inside, the door slammed shut behind her back. Tons of vampire bats rushed at her. Lucy started pulling on the door like crazy. Suddenly, she saw that there was something written on it. Change the order of letters in Siomon Eprik. She yelled the answer, and the door opened. What did the girl say? The real name of that place was Creepy Mansion. Rhonda found 3 root vegetables in the garden, but only one of them was mandragora. Can you figure out which veggie Rhonda should pick? Even if you've never seen a mandrake, you can eliminate the other plants. This is definitely a carrot, and this is a beet. So the remaining one must be the mandragora. Lucy and Rhonda prepared to leave the spooky house, but suddenly they stepped on a trap hidden in the grass and fell into a deep well. They looked around and found 3 tunnels leading to freedom. A fire-breathing dragon was waiting in the first tunnel. It was very angry and disliked people. There was a portal leading into a black hole in the second tunnel, and huge cacti were growing all over the third tunnel. Their juice was poisonous to any human. Which way should Lucy and Rhonda choose? The third one. Look, those cacti don't have any spines, and no one's gonna force the girls to drink cactus juice. Vera cooked the potion for Joy. Lucy and Rhonda took it to the girl's house, but when they entered her room, it was empty. Joy's parents said that Lily and Joy had left together. They were both acting very weird. Rhonda said, "Oh no, they've both turned into vampires. We've got to find them before it's too late." Can you help them find any clues in Joy's room? Look at her laptop. They seem to have bought train tickets to go to Las Vegas to visit Joy's granny. Lucy and Rhonda boarded the train. Besides them, there were 4 other people in the car. One of these passengers didn't have a ticket. Can you figure out who it is? This woman. She's the only one who's hiding her head behind the headrest of her seat so that the camera doesn't spot her. When the train was going through a tunnel, the lights went out, and the passengers got very frightened. When the light turned on again, one of the passengers shouted, "Help me! Someone has stolen my bag!" Lucy immediately realized who had done this. What about you? Any ideas? Yeah, this guy. There's some makeup lying under his seat, and his window is open. He put the contents of the bag into his backpack, and then threw the bag out the window. Rhonda and Lucy got to Las Vegas and headed for the house where Joy's granny lived, but they kept coming to the wrong houses. In the first house, they met this old lady, and in the second, there was this one. Can you tell which elderly woman is dangerous? It's the second one. She's up to something, while the first one is just getting ready for a Halloween party. Finally, Lucy and Rhonda found the right house. The door was open. When they entered, they saw Joy's granny unconscious on the floor. She had a vampire bite on her neck. Suddenly, Joy and Lily popped out of nowhere. They had pale faces, sharp teeth, and pointy ears. They came closer and closer, ready to bite their friends. Suddenly, Rhonda began laughing and exclaimed, "Stop fooling around, it's just a prank." How did she know? The mirror reflects Joy, and Lily casts a shadow. They're not real vampires, it's just a Halloween prank.
Annie managed to buy presents for everyone except her dad. She knew what everyone wanted, but her dad was kind of secretive and not the talking type. He was also not great with technology and never bought anything online, so there was no way she could sneak into her dad's computer and check the saved items in his shopping cart. But he always liked to make lists in his little notebook, and Annie was sure she might be able to find a wish list there. So she sneaked into her father's office one day to look for the notebook. It was nowhere to be found, but his study table had a locked drawer. She looked for the key around the room but couldn't find it anywhere. That's when 2 different sticky notes attached to 2 different books inside the bookcase caught her eye. The first note was attached to a psychology book and had P5487TH written on it. The second note was attached to a detective novel and said P21320TH. Annie immediately knew what the notes meant. Can you guess what she had to do? She had to open to page 548 in the first book and find the 7th word on this page. Then, she had to open page 213 in the second book and find the 20th word on that page. The words she found were under and desk. The girl immediately looked under the desk and found the drawer key taped to it. James was walking back to his apartment from work late at night. Suddenly, he was hit on the head and taken away. When he woke up, he found himself in a small room. He tried to escape, but the door was locked with a padlock. James tried to look for the key, but there was nothing in there but a window with strange-looking metal bars. Suddenly, he noticed something. It helped him to find the key. Do you see it too? One of the metal bars is different from the others. That one is the key. Giselle was camping in the forest during a night when the moon was full. After midnight, when she was making s'mores by a fire, she heard a loud howl. There was a werewolf in the forest, and it managed to find Giselle's tent because it smelled of food there. Thankfully, Giselle was not in her tent anymore when the werewolf arrived because she had already run away. Hiding behind a tree, she watched the creature eat her s'mores and tear up the tent. When the werewolf left before sunrise, the girl returned to her tent, but everything was ruined. There was no more food or water left. Her cell phone had run out of battery, so she couldn't call anyone. She started wandering through the forest, and soon she came upon a witch's house. When she walked in, she saw the witch and another lady. Giselle asked the witch if she could send her home. The witch agreed to help her on one condition. She would only send Giselle home if she guessed her sister's name. If not, she would turn her into a frog. Giselle knew the answer, but how? Did you notice that the witch's sister is wearing the same necklace around her neck as the werewolf? Well, Giselle did, and there's a name written on the necklace: Abigail. Zoe went to a security guard and reported that her gym bag was missing. She said she'd gone to the ladies' restroom after her dance cardio class. She was fixing her hair when someone came up from behind and pushed her. So she didn't see the person who had taken her bag. The security guard refused to check the footage from the security camera that was outside the restroom. Neither did he file a report. Why? Zoe said she was fixing her hair, so she must have been looking in the mirror. If she was telling the truth about someone sneaking up from behind, she would have definitely seen their reflection. So, Zoe probably lied so that she could sue them. Luckily, the security guard was super smart. Several women went missing in a small town. James Darcy and his police team had been searching for months, but they couldn't find the place where the women were kept. One day, when Sandra was jogging, she decided to use another route to get home. As she was passing an old cabin, she heard screams coming from its basement. She immediately called James Darcy to report it. James and his team arrived at the place and busted in. They found there 3 women. They all said that they had been locked in the basement for months, but James knew one of them was lying. The first woman said that her name was Tammy and that she had spent almost 8 months in the basement. The second woman claimed that her name was Hannah and that she had been there for almost 5 months. The third woman told him that her name was Allison and that she had stayed there for about 3 months. Can you tell who the liar is? Allison is telling the truth. Look at her. Her clothes are dirty. Her hair is greasy. Her roots have started to grow out. She definitely hasn't seen daylight for a long time. The same goes for Hannah. But look at Tammy. She looks clean. Her clothes look new. Her hair and makeup look fresh, so it must be her who is lying. There's a secret helicopter hangar hidden among trees at the edge of the forest. A squirrel got stuck on the ceiling between the beams. Johnny, the woodcutter, comes inside and notices the poor animal. He's going to rescue it, but he doesn't know how to get there. There are no stairs or anything that can be used to climb so high. Help him save the squirrel. There's an open vent on the ceiling. Johnny can get to the squirrel through the roof, but how? The hangar is located among the trees. Johnny can climb a tree and jump on the roof. The premiere of some fantastic movie about graffiti culture was held at one local cinema. Some of the viewers liked it so much that they painted the wall of the building. The police caught 3 suspects, but who's guilty? Look at this girl with blue hair. She has paint on her fingers. Leo, Brad, and Chris walk in the park and tell each other how they spent the weekend. All the guys look rich and successful, but in fact, only one of them is wealthy. Look at them carefully and try to guess who. It's Brad. See the advertising banner of a new action movie hanging on a skyscraper in the distance? Brad's face is on it. Linda comes out of the library. She doesn't notice the curb ahead, stumbles over it, and breaks the heel of her shoe. She calls a taxi and goes to the city center. There's a street with many fashionable boutiques. Linda doesn't know which store to go to. The best shoes in town, the sign on the first building says. The best shoes in the country is written on the second boutique. The best shoes on the continent, the sign on a fashion house lights up. The best shoes on the planet is written on the next one. Linda moves on. The best shoes in the solar system. The best shoes in the galaxy. The best shoes in the universe. Then she notices a small shop at the end of the street. Linda chooses that one without hesitation. What was written there? The best shoes on this street. Roy is sitting in the classroom listening to two teachers. They're saying essential mathematical formulas to prepare students for upcoming exams. Roy is writing down their words, but he doesn't keep up with the teachers. His hand hurts more and more. The notebook is running out of pages. The teacher's speech is accelerating. They're saying a lot of new information. Ah! How can Roy remember all of this? Help him! He needs to use the voice recorder on his phone. The plane takes off from the airport. A flight attendant walks through the cabin and sees two passengers arguing. The crew member asks what happened. Jay says that Courtney took his place. Courtney claims that this is her seat. They showed their tickets to the flight attendant. She tells them that the program couldn't sell two identical seats. She takes their boarding passes and immediately understands what the mistake is. Look at the tickets and tell who's right here. Seat 14F is written on both documents. Jay's takeoff time is 2:57 a.m. Courtney's is 2:57 p.m. It was sunny when the plane took off. Also, the sun is shining outside the window, so Jay's got on the wrong flight. Alexis runs at the stadium every day, preparing for an athletics championship. And it starts today. Alexis warms up and notices a skinny guy among other runners. His legs look weak and thin. Is he gonna run? Alexis wonders. All participants get up to the starting position. 3, 2, 1, go! Alexis is running as fast as she can. She's in the lead, and that guy runs much faster and doesn't look tired. He wins. But how did he do it? Alexis realizes he's not a real athlete. He's not even a human. But how did she know that? The guy doesn't sweat, he doesn't blink, and he has two left hands. It's raining. Mike tries to walk fast so as not to freeze. His 3 goats are following him. He comes out to the river and notices a raft on the shore, but it can only withstand 1 goat and 1 human at a time. A tiger is sitting on the other side of the river. Mike can't sail with 1 goat and leave it with the tiger. What should he do to cross the river? There's no need to cross the river this way. Look, there's a bridge far ahead. There's a house right in the middle of the hottest desert. There is no water, trees, or villages around. 4 people live inside the building: the owner and his friends, an archaeologist, an oil worker, and a surveyor. The owner comes to the backyard and sees an empty jug. "Who's drunk all the water? We don't have any supplies anymore," he screams loudly. All the friends are in shock too. "Those who did that should go to the desert and get some water," he says.
"I was excavating in front of the house. I didn't touch the jug,"
the archaeologist replies. "I extracted oil under the house. I didn't touch the water," the oil worker says. "I was wandering through the desert in search of an underground river or lake, but I haven't found anything. There's no point in sending us there. You know, I think you've drunk it," the surveyor answers. "What do you think? Who's guilty?" Nobody. The jug was outside. The hot sand and the scorching sun dried it up.
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.